The evening rain poured endlessly over the city, blurring the streetlights into streaks of gold and silver. In the middle of that storm, Alex wandered aimlessly, his thoughts heavier than the drenched jacket clinging to his shoulders. He had come to this foreign country chasing a dream, but lately he only felt the sting of loneliness. He was about to cross the street when a muffled sob caught his attention. Under the awning of a closed bakery stood a young woman, her thin sweater soaked through, her shoulders trembling. In her arms, she clutched a plastic bag that seemed to carry nothing but a few clothes and a small loaf of bread. Alex hesitated for a second, then approached. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice was careful, softened by concern. The woman lifted her head. Even through the dim light, he saw her eyes, dark, wide, and filled with unshed tears. For a moment, she didn't answer, just looked at him as if unsure whether he was real or just another cruel trick from life. She stammered, her voice breaking. "I don't know where to go." Something in her tone struck Alex, a fragile honesty that disarmed him. Without thinking, he offered his umbrella, shielding her from the downpour. "There's a small cafe down the street, warm, quiet. Let me take you there. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to." The woman hesitated, but exhaustion won over doubt. She nodded faintly. They walked side by side, the silence between them not heavy, but strangely comforting. Inside the cafe, she held the warm cup of tea like it was the only source of light she had left. Alex didn't press her with questions. He simply sat across from her, his eyes steady, telling her she didn't need to explain herself. And for the first time in a long while, the woman, Nana, felt the faint stir of safety. Days passed, and the city's rhythm moved on as usual. But for Alex, something had shifted. He kept thinking about the girl he met in the rain, the quiet way she looked out the cafe window, the way her fingers trembled around the teacup. Fate, or perhaps something greater, allowed their paths to cross again. Alex learned her name was Nana. She lived on the edge of the city in a cramped rented room, working odd jobs to survive. She rarely spoke of herself, but her silence carried stories heavier than words. At first, Nana resisted his kindness. Life had taught her not to trust easily. But Alex was patient. He didn't pry, didn't demand. Instead, he showed up with small gestures. A hot meal after her long shifts, fixing the leaking faucet in her apartment, walking her home when the streets grew dark. Gradually, her defenses softened. She found herself laughing, just a little, when he clumsily tried to cook for her and nearly set the pan on fire. She felt her chest tighten in a way that wasn't entirely painful when he spoke of his dreams, of the life he once imagined for himself before disillusionment dulled it. But at night, when she was alone, Nana's fears returned. She told herself not to be foolish. Happiness was fleeting. Trust was dangerous. She couldn't afford to let anyone into the fragile world she had built. Not when everything could collapse so easily. And yet the more she tried to push him away, the more his presence lingered, gentle, persistent, like sunlight finding cracks in a wall. One evening, as autumn painted the city with gray, Alex walked Nana home. Her face was pale, her steps slower than usual. He offered to take her to a clinic, but she shook her head. Only when she collapsed outside her apartment door did panic surge through him. Hours later, in the sterile light of a hospital room, Nana stirred awake. Her body was weak, but her pride burned stubbornly. She turned her face away when Alex asked what was wrong. "You shouldn't waste your time," she whispered. "I don't deserve this. I don't deserve you." Her words cut deeper than she knew. Alex leaned closer, his voice trembling but firm. "Nana, I'm here because I want to be. Whatever you're hiding, whatever you're afraid of, it doesn't change how I see you." Her eyes shimmered, torn between disbelief and yearning, but the weight of her past pressed down too heavily. She closed her eyes, retreating into silence once again. That night, as rain tapped softly against the hospital window, Alex stayed by her side. He didn't know the whole truth, but he understood enough. She carried scars that went far deeper than any illness. And no matter how long it took, he was willing to wait until she let him in. The rain lingered the next day, drumming softly against the glass. Nana lay quietly, her gaze distant, as if replaying a life she wished she could erase. Alex sat beside her, silent but present, his hand gently holding hers. For a long time she said nothing. Then, as though the storm outside unlocked something within her, she began to speak. "I once dreamed of a simple life. A small house, a husband who loved me, a child who would grow up surrounded by laughter. But dreams don't always survive reality." Her voice trembled, but she pressed on. She told him of the man she had once married, how love quickly gave way to anger, to nights of violence and fear. She spoke of the day she discovered she was pregnant, believing it might heal the rift between them, only to be met with cruelty and abandonment. "I chose my child," she whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. "I walked away from everything else. That night, the rain was just like this. I cried the whole way, but I also felt free." Alex's chest tightened as he listened. He had suspected her pain, but never imagined the depth of it. "I've been raising my child alone ever since, doing whatever work I could find, no matter how harsh, just so he could eat, just so he could smile. Sometimes I feel so tired, so close to giving up. But when I see his face, I remind myself I can't." Her tears finally fell, soaking the pillow. She turned to him, eyes both defiant and vulnerable. "Alex, how could you possibly want to be with someone like me? I carry all this baggage. I'm not just me. I'm a past full of scars, and I'm a mother. Are you sure you want to step into that?" For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Alex reached out, brushing away her tears with a tenderness that left her breathless. "Nana," he said softly, "your past doesn't make you less. It makes you more, stronger, braver. You've endured so much, and you're still here, still fighting for your child. That's not a burden. It's something I admire more than anything." He paused, his eyes steady, unwavering. "I don't care about what you went through. I care about you. And I only fear one thing, that you won't let me stand by your side." Nana's walls, built over years of pain, cracked under the weight of his words. A sob broke free, raw and uncontrollable. This time, she didn't hide it. She let herself collapse into his arms, clinging as if she had finally found solid ground. Outside, the rain kept falling. But inside, in that small hospital room, something shifted. Two wounded souls had found each other, and in their embrace, a fragile hope began to bloom. If you felt touched by this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next emotional short film. Now we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think Alex made the right choice when he decided to stay by Nana's side despite her painful past? If you were Nana, would you have the courage to open up about such a deep wound? What lesson did you take away from this story? Share your thoughts below. We read every comment, and your words mean a lot to us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Mọi người, hôm nay chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau đi đến với lại Alex. Alex vẫn còn ngồi trước màn hình máy tính, lấy số và báo cáo nhấp nháy như một ngôn ngữ lạnh lùng. Nhưng trong đầu anh, sự mệt mỏi dày đặc chẳng thể xua đi. Đúng lúc ấy, điện thoại rung lên, một giọng nữ vội vàng lên ở đầu dây bên kia. Xin chào, có phải Alex không? Chúng tôi gọi từ bệnh viện thành phố. Bệnh nhân tên Lala. Cô ấy được đưa vào cấp cứu vì sốt cao, tình trạng không ổn định. Chúng tôi cần anh đến. Trong tích tắc, mọi thứ xung quanh Alex như sụp đổ. Những con số trên màn hình trở nên vô nghĩa. Tim anh đập dồn dập, mạnh đến mức tưởng như sẽ toạc lồng ngực. Anh đứng bật dậy, nắm chặt chìa khóa trên bàn tay, lao ra hành lang và bỏ lại phía sau những ánh mắt ngạc nhiên của đồng nghiệp. Bên ngoài, mưa xối xả quật vào mặt, đường phố nhòe đi một màu xám đặc quánh. Alex bước nhanh rồi gần như chạy, chiếc ô tô nổ máy, đèn pha rạch màn mưa mù mịt. Bàn tay anh siết chặt vô lăng, miệng khẽ lẩm bẩm: Nana, em phải cố lên. Khi cánh cửa kính bệnh viện bật mở, mùi thuốc sát trùng nồng nặc ập tới. Dưới ánh đèn lóe trắng nhợt, hành lang dài vun vút. Ở quầy tiếp nhận, một y tá trẻ ngẩng đầu thấy vẻ mặt hoảng loạn của Alex. Cô khẽ gật đầu, giọng mềm mỏng: Anh là người thân của bệnh nhân Nana đúng không? Cô ấy đang ở phòng cấp cứu tầng 2. Bác sĩ đang làm mọi cách để hạ sốt. Anh có thể ngồi lại ở kia đợi. Alex gật mạnh, cố kiềm chế cơn run rẩy rồi bước đến ghế chờ lạnh lẽo. Anh ngồi xuống, hai bàn tay đan chặt vào nhau, mắt dán vào cánh cửa khép kín của cuối hành lang. Mọi người thấy cái video này hay thì hãy cho mình một lượt like và một lượt thích và một lượt đăng ký kênh để mình có thêm động lực để mình sản xuất ra nhiều cái video hay tiếp theo. Xin chào mọi người ạ.